Hey guys, this is Victor with Dapper Dash. We've been gaining some traction on the channel, so what I wanted to do today was I wanted to bring you guys another Power BI tutorial video. In today's tutorial, we're going to be working with DAX and with measures. Specifically, we're going to create a measure using DAX in which we build a text message that changes dynamically based on if we select different slicers in our dashboard. We're going to be working with NBA data, specifically points per game during the 2019 basketball season. As you select through different teams, this measure is going to dynamically change and provide simple insights about the points per game that team had in the 2019 season, where they rank, and how their points per game average compares to the rest of the NBA. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to show you a quick demo of what this is going to look like, and then I'll walk you through how I built it. And it goes without saying that if you enjoyed the video, help me out by hitting like and subscribe. So let's go. All right, guys, so here we are on our Dapper Dash dashboard. And as you can see on the left-hand side, I have a list of the 30 NBA teams. And what we're going to be building here is essentially this green box here on the top right. So let me walk you through what this shows, what these two graphs show. Right here we have all 30 teams with their average points per game in the 2019 NBA season. Okay, this blue dotted line, this represents the NBA average. And the NBA average is listed as 111.4 points. So right now we're with the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta, as you can see, they're right in the middle. Let me show you what this graph at the bottom does real quick. Is if I select a different team, let's say I select Phoenix. Okay, so Phoenix has 113.6 points per game. So let's go find Phoenix. When we select Phoenix, it's going to be highlighted. And based on this graph alone, you can see that their points per game is slightly above the average. But as you get closer to this these middle teams here, it's hard to determine which teams are above and which teams are below the average. Like Utah, Brooklyn, Miami, Denver. These teams are really, really close to that average line. So while this graph is really simple, it's like a nice visual to see, if I click on a team, let's say San Antonio, okay, it's easy to see that they rank over here, probably in the top 10. Milwaukee is obviously the top team in points per game. So if I click on Milwaukee, right, it's highlighted here. But we want to build a box that provides quick stats. So if I click on a random team, I don't have to count, well, where does Miami rank? They're somewhere like 15th or 16th, but I don't want to have to count bars. I don't want to have to guess if they're above or below the average. So what we do is we create this text box right here. And what this text box does is it highlights all those key points that I just mentioned. If I want to know where Miami ranks in relation to their peers, I can see that they ranked 16th in points per game. Okay, if I want to know if they're above or below the average, there's two ways that I've done this. One is I've listed out their average points per game. So 111.6 average is 0.2 points more than the NBA average of 111.4 points per game. But every time you switch teams, I don't want to have to find, 117.8. Obviously, it's higher than 111.4. So what I've done is I've also changed the background of this card so that it changes between green and red depending on whether the team averaged more or less than the NBA average. So if we find a team like Chicago, for example, right, they're below the average line. So if we go to Chicago and I click on them, you'll see that the background changes red. This is a quick indicator to me that Chicago is below the average. Now, if I wanted to know specifically what their points per game are, I can look at the quick stats sheet over here. So let's just browse through a few. Boston, above the average. Detroit, below the average. Golden State, below the average. The Clippers, above the average. And once again, not only do I know if they're above or below, but I can also tell where they rank. So Memphis ranks 13th among the 30 NBA teams. the Minnesota Timberwolves are 11th among the NBA teams. So you can see why having a quick stats KPI like this is really useful. It highlights key information and it brings it pretty quickly out into the open where you're able to glance at it, analyze it. A quick color changing background, right, allows for easy ability to know whether something is above or below something else, right? Dallas, Denver, above, below. So this is what we're going to be building today. We're not going to build this graph here at the bottom. We're just going to be focusing on this text box here. If you're interested to know how I built this bottom one, right, where it highlights the specific bar that you clicked on, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in that, I'll create a tutorial for this. But the main focus is going to be this KPI Quick Stats box. So let's go to a blank, or I guess one of my templates, and let's get going on building this. So it is going to be a card. So we're going to click on card. It's going to automatically position it, I suppose, wherever there's room on the page. So I'm just going to extend it out to here. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build a measure. And we're going to start to build this slowly out. So we're going to click on create new measure. Remember, this is going to be our quick stats, right? Quick highlights, quick KPIs on here. Using var, you can declare a variable. In this case, let's just declare final text. All right, this is going to be our final text. We're going to return final text. We're going to make our final text equal to test. Okay, that's it. So if you're unfamiliar with DAX, you can follow along. I'll just show you what this is going to do. I'm able to bring the quick stats that we just built into the field. And there it goes. Remember, we set it to test. So there's test. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the background is off. And I'm also going to make sure this category here is off. And I'm going to make the size like a 25 or so, because this is going to be a lot of text that we're going to put into here. Okay, so let's go back into the quick stats and let's continue to build out what we actually wanted to say. So remember, we want to highlight the points per game. We want to highlight the team, where they rank, and then the NBA average. So in some sort of combination like that. Let's leave that there for now. So if you hit Shift Enter, you can create a new line. So first thing that we're going to determine is we're going to determine the points per game for the NBA average, as well as the points per game for the team that we have selected. So let's start first with the team. So if we go team, this is going to represent the team that we select. As we browse through our slicer, we want to capture the team name. So we're going to go to selected value. Selected value returns the value when there's only one value in the specified column. Otherwise, it returns an alternate result. Because we're slicing the data, right, there should only be one value returned in our column. And I'll show you, maybe I should have showed you I'll show you the data and what it looks like. So we're going to click on our team. And if for some reason this team didn't exist or there was an error, let's just return all. All right. This isn't really going to occur with this data set, but it might occur with something that you're working with. Let's set our final text to be this team. And then let's hit enter. So now we're going to return the final text, which is equivalent to the selected team of the slicer. And you'll see LA Lakers, right? If I switch, you'll see Memphis, LA Clippers, Indiana. Let me show you the data real quick in case you're curious. So here's my data set. I have rank, I have the team name, what they averaged in the 2019 season, their last 3 games average, their last 1 game, so what they scored in the last game, their home average, their away average, in case you wanted to see if teams perform better at home or if they score more points away. And then the 2018 season average, in case you wanted to compare 2019 to 2018 season. And the rest of it is just the logo. And then I created this ranked text column here so that we can use this in our quick stats instead of just the numbers. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to our quick stats. So far we've captured our team. And now what we want to do is we want to capture our team rank, right? So where do they rank? So I'm going to name this variable team rank. And this is going to be, once again, selected value. And it's going to be our rank text column. Remember, this is the column that has first, second, third, as opposed to 1, 2, 3. If for some reason there's an error, let's just write error. Like I said, it may be different data set to data set, but in my particular data set, there should only be one rank text per row, for each slicer that I select. So I don't anticipate running into any errors here, but if you do, let me know, and I can gladly look at it. So let's do some concatenating here, just so you're able to see everything that's going into this right now. So here's our team rank. I'm going to show you this pretty slowly right now, but as you kind of get the hint of what I'm doing, I'm going to start working a little bit quicker because a lot of this is just repeat. But see, if I concatenate with these and symbols, now we get to see the team, and we've brought in the rank text, so the team rank. Indiana, 23rd. LA Lakers, 10th. Milwaukee, right, they're the 1st. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're 11th. All right, so let's go grab the rest of the data that we need for this. So we have team rank. Let's go grab our points per game. So points per game is going to be equal to, same thing, select. We haven't really had to calculate anything right now. Right now we're just grabbing the data, the columns that belong to the specific team that we've selected. So in this case, 2019 is what has our points per game. And if for some reason there's an error, I'm just going to return 0. Now here's where we're going to start doing a little bit of calculation, because now we want the NBA points per game, right? So that we're able to compare the two and determine, is the points per game of this specific team higher or lower than the NBA average? So let's go NBA points per game. So here we're going to calculate. Okay, and we're going to calculate the average. And it's going to be the average of, same thing, of the column 2019, which contains our 2019 points per game. And we're going to close that. And on our calculate, we need to be able to provide a filter. In this case, I'm going to use all, because all returns all the rows in a table and ignores any filters that might have been applied. So it ignores the fact that I'm slicing to a specific team, because I want to return all the rows in my data set, so that I can calculate the average. So there's the average there. Let's continuing on. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create another points per game, but this one's going to be final. And the reason why is because I want to limit my results to just one decimal place. Okay, I don't want it to do calculations and then return 70 decimals. So I just want to return 1. So I'm going to round my points per game to just number of digits 1, and I'm going to do the same thing with my NBA. So NBA points per game is going to be final. We're going to round NBA points per game to just 1 decimal, and that's how we arrive at the final. All right. And if you really wanted to, you can start naming things here. Points per game data. And team data. Right, this is specific to the team. This is specific to, I actually don't even know if you need those closing ones. This is specific to the numbers, the averages that we're trying to grab. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do, so far right now, let's continue to build out our final text. So we're going to use team, okay, and team is going to be, so LA Lakers or something, right? Ranked, and then the team ranked, so they ranked first, they ranked 10th, they ranked whatever. We're going to go in points per game for the 2019 NBA season, something like that. Okay, let's just see what this looks like here. So I hit enter, I go back outside. Minnesota ranked 11th in points per game for the 2019 NBA season. The LA Clippers ranked 4th in points per game for the 2019 NBA season. So this is pretty good, right? It's starting to look really good, actually. But now we want to bring in those averages. And we want to bring in the compare. Is it more or is it less than the NBA average? Okay, so here's where we're going to do some compare. Compare data. Okay, so we're going to take the difference. So this is going to be the difference between the NBA average and our team's average. And I'm just going to take the absolute value. So let's set this equal absolute value. And we're going to take points per game final. And we're going to subtract the NBA points per game. I missed an L, final. Okay, that's going to represent our difference. So the next thing that I'm going to add here is I'm going to add a diff text. So this text here, if our points per game is greater than the NBA average, I want this to return more. If it's less, then I want it to return less. So if, and we're going to go points per game, is greater than or equal to NBA points per game. And actually, I should probably do it to the final, but it doesn't matter. Then return more, else return less. Close parentheses there. And this is going to go into our final text, and you're going to see where I'm going to drop this in. Okay, and then the last thing is I do want to show the difference in points per game on our quick stats. So same thing, I want to make sure I round it. So we're going to round our diff to just 1. And that's it. So this is all the data that we really need to create our text. And then really it's just a matter of what is it that you want it to say. So let's build it out. Team, so let's just say Phoenix, that's my team. So Phoenix ranked 20th in points per game for the 2019 NBA season. And then we're going to type in, we're going to bring in their points per game, right? Their points per game final. Their 110.4 average is, and is this going to be more or less than the NBA average? Well, this is where our diff text comes into play, because this is going to determine whether we use the word more or less. Their average is more or less than the NBA average of, and then we're going to bring in the NBA points per game. And a period. Okay, let's see. Their average is more. Oh, let's bring in our number. We actually want to see the difference. Our diff final. Their average is diff final. And we want a small space and more or less. Their average is 0.2 points more or less than the NBA average of blank, period. Hit enter. Hopefully we get no errors. Let's click out. So here we have LA Clippers ranked 4th in points per game for the 2019 NBA season. We can see right here that they ranked 4th, and we assume that their average is higher, right? Their 116 average is 4.6 points more than the MBA average of 111.4. And so that math adds up. If we click on the Knicks, which rank 29th out of 30th, they rank 29th. Their 105.8 average is 5.6 points less than the MBA average of 111.4. All right, so our quick stats is working. Right, it's dynamic. Every time we select on a new team, it accounts for that team, it brings in the rank, and then compares the averages. So the last step that we need to do is we want to be able to change the background of this text box so that it reflects whether it's above or below the MBA average. All right, so in order to change this background, we're going to end up using diff that we created here. But instead of determining more or less, we're going to create a flag. So if it's more, we're going to return a 1. If it's less, we're going to return a 0. And then we're going to use that to create the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here. I'm not going to need everything, but I'm just going to copy it to make it go quicker. We're going to create a new measure. We're going to name this Quick Stats Background. Okay, we don't need the team data. And we do want the points per game, and we do want the NBA points per game. And we don't care for the difference. And since we're only using these and we're not using the final, we don't care for the final. Okay, so we grab the points per game for the team. We grab the NBA points per game. And then we set this time we're going to call this flag. If points per game is greater than or equal to the MBA average, we're going to return a 1. If not, we're going to return a 0. And then we're going to return our flag, or our indicator, if you want to call it that. So 1 or 0, this is our background. We're going to hit enter. Okay, so here's our quick stats, and then we have our quick stats background. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on our card. We're going to go to this paintbrush here, and we're going to go to background. We're going to turn it on. And we don't want a specific color. We want some sort of dynamic color. So in order to get our dynamic color, we're going to go ahead and hit this FX. We want to do it based on... Wait a minute, we can do it based on rules. Yeah, so let's go to rules. It was going to be a little bit different than what I thought, but let's go to rules, and then we can set our quick stats background. Remember, we set a 1 if it's equal to or greater than the MBA average. So if the number is a 1, we want it to be green, right? Because green represents greater than or equal to the MBA number. This is the color that I chose. You don't have to choose the same one, but feel free to grab it. And then we're going to add another rule where if the number is 0, meaning that they are below the average, then we're going to set a red. I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. One thing, maybe I'll add some transparency so it doesn't look quite as dark, and we can see at least the letter shine through. So here we are, right? If we're above the average, it's going to show a green. If we're a team like Sacramento, Oklahoma City, it's going to switch to red. Then you can always just select the team that you're interested in, like in Atlanta, and then see if they're above or below the average. So that's going to do it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. It was pretty simple, right? Just a few quick measures, a background color, and we're able to get this unique quick stats KPI per se. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If there's any topics that you guys want to know specifically, feel free to also let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And okay, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you.